The biggest sign that something deeper is off is when everybody feels busy, everyone feels overwhelmed. It feels like you're working hard, but nothing's happening. Or discovering a business unit or a significant process that is a backbone of your business is broken. And then calling someone like me to ask,
You didn't start a business to put out fires, but here you are, holding the extinguisher. Business isn't theory, it's pressure, late nights, tight margins, the thing that keeps breaking no matter how many times you fix it. When the room's on fire, the amateurs shout, the pros stay calm. That's the Fixers and Founders way. Part discipline, part rebellion. We walk into broken systems, find the pulse, and make it run clean. Because calm isn't weakness. Calm is a strategy. We're operators, builders, problem solvers. Born from the grind. Built for the builders. Join us now as we chat with Fixers and Founders just like you. Let's jump in.
Welcome to Fixers and Founders, where vision meets velocity. I'm Tony.
I'm Forrest.
If your business has good people, real revenue, and still feels harder to run than it should, that's not a people problem. That's an operating system problem. Today's guest matters. Jeff Benesh has spent his career operating where mistakes are expensive, from trading distressed and illiquid assets on Wall Street to stepping into founder-led businesses when things start to break down. Now, as the founder of Melbury & Co., he doesn't advise from the sidelines. He enters companies at the point of chaos when decisions are slowing, accountability is unclear, and execution is slipping. His job is simple, but not easy. Diagnose the truth beneath the noise and rebuild the system so the business works again. If your company is growing, but it's starting to feel heavier instead of easier, this conversation is for you. Let's get it done.
Great to have you here, Jeff. I'm excited to hear your wisdom. I know we talked earlier about the hair, and yes, you're a minority on this podcast because you have more hair than both of us combined, but that's okay. We won't hold that against you.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on, guys. I love the show, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell my story.
You've operated in high-stakes finance and now step into the founder-led businesses at breaking points. What pulled you into this kind of intervention work?
Well, I think to go back through it, I started my career on Wall Street trading high yield and distressed credit, mainly for investing in businesses that were either near or in financial distress, Chapter 11 bankruptcy, reorganization, that kind of thing. That was the first foray into understanding value creation and restructuring. But honestly, even sitting on that desk, my trading seat, I was basically tasked with reorganizing the workflow and how we interacted and managed information from clients and how we managed handling transactions and trading with our sales force. So that was really my first turnaround task. I didn't realize it at the time, but I tucked that in my experience chest. And then when I left Wall Street, I co-founded a cannabis beverage manufacturing business out in California, and I ran it with a handful of partners. And maybe 6 months before I left, I was tasked with a turnaround that went really well. And unfortunately, I ran into some issues with my partners, and I kind of came to the realization that if I wasn't going to invest any more of my money into this business because of management and leadership, I wasn't going to waste any more of my time. So I kind of took my Wall Street experience with my operational experience and probably spent like a 12 to 18 months after that, like kind of figuring out what my next steps were and doing some internal identity work, figuring out, hey, like what is it that I want to do? And I actually stumbled upon a couple of opportunities to help some local businesses where I was living at the time to restructure, kind of organize or systematize their operations. And I kind of woke up one day and I'm like, oh my God, I really enjoy this because number one, I was working on a whole bunch of different problems, helping businesses get better. But I truly found my why in the fact that I was actually helping real people get closer to financial freedom as opposed to already rich hedge fund managers or, institutional or even private investors, buy another yacht or buy a plane, something like that. So, I grew up in a small town, upstate New York, as an underdog. I didn't go to an Ivy League university, and I scratched and clawed my way onto a couple premier Wall Street trading desks. And so that underdog, small town chip was still there, is still there. And I don't know, I just find so much fulfillment, intrinsic fulfillment beyond just monetary fulfillment out of, helping real entrepreneurs get closer to financial freedom.
Wall Street versus Main Street, right?
That's it. That's it. I learned the Wall Street tricks, and now I'm trying to help Main Street either adopt them or defend against them.
Great. It's good stuff.
Keep it up, man. You talk about businesses drifting, right? Into chaos rather than breaking all at once. What are the earliest signs that something deeper is off?
The biggest sign that something deeper is off is when everybody feels busy, everyone feels overwhelmed, everyone feels like you're working hard, but nothing's happening, or you've hit a wall, or, even sometimes it's discovering a business unit or a significant process that is a backbone of your business is broken, and then calling someone like me or like yourselves to ask, to get a second opinion, really. And usually when we dig deeper, we find more and more and more things that need to be tackled. I was thinking about this earlier. Usually, I'd say like more than half the time when someone connects with me, it's usually too late for them to, not too late, but it goes from stabilization, like, oh, we can fix this when we've got time. We can really throw a lot of our focus and resources on this one particular thing. But more than half the time, it's beyond that. And I don't know if it's because of my background, but I usually find it's usually a distress situation or a situation where the business really is at a breaking point.
Man, something you said there that totally resonates with me and some of my client experience even is, I'm sure we've all seen that meme where the person is standing there selling the round wheel and the people are pulling the wheelbarrow with the square ones. And they say, no, thanks, man. We're too busy. We're just too busy. We're too busy to really make any effective change. The other thing you mentioned earlier, Jeff, was that you did identity work, that was probably needed. If you had listened to the last episode with Nathan Young from How to Be Second, and you also said second opinion, which I thought was apropos too. I'd like that. I like the second opinion from the second. So all of that, kind of together is just, it's interesting. We have the different niche in what we do and the solutions that we offer, though these core issues, I mean, just over and over and over again, it's these same foundational aspects, organizational aspects. Fascinating. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. I find that it's, a business is usually the chaos in a business. There's a single source for that, and that's the founder or the owner. It's like,
how about saying, it's called busyness, not busyness, right?
Yes, exactly. And they can, it's a lot, and these founders and these owners can do a pretty good job at basically confusing productivity for forward motion, right? And so, and sometimes, a lot of times that's wrapped up in identity.
Yeah. I got a coaching integrator that I coach, CEO integrator that I coach, and she's working with a founder, and he requires his employees to be at their desk at 7 and not leave till 7 o'clock at night. And he thinks that's productive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the guy's got a sweatshop. You don't even realize it. So when you enter these businesses, how do you separate what leadership thinks is wrong from what is actually causing the breakdown? You mentioned the founders a lot of times, what's causing the breakdown. So how do you help them recognize that?
So the first thing I always do when I enter a business is I do a full business unit diagnostic, or a full business diagnostic that goes across all the business units, whether it's leadership, finance, tech, sales, marketing, customer relations. I have developed a 10-pillar framework, so to speak, that I like to use to do my diagnostics. And so I obviously listen to what the founder thinks is wrong, but my job is really to dive in to find the root cause of it, and also to find out what else we're dealing with that might contribute to the issue that they've identified. And then part of the diagnostic is me sitting down and basically shadowing the founder. And it sounds kind of silly, but I will literally sit down next to them and watch them as they work. And I'm like, just pretend I'm not here. But if I ask a question of, please answer, but I'll watch them, spend 2 hours clearing out their inbox. And then I'll watch them, spend an hour and a half on a phone call with their social media agency, nitpicking the copy on a particular post. And it's like, what's your like main focus for the week? Oh yeah, I've gotta read through the sales and marketing strategy to make sure that we're ready to go live for to tackle our Q2 goals. Well, did you do that? No, I haven't gotten to it. I'll do that over the weekend. And that's one of the biggest, I think, the smallest components that result in the biggest impact in terms of like understanding uh, some of the things that are going wrong in the business. And then the other thing is I make it a point, a requirement that I get free access to employees and I get to sit down and interview them. And I always tell them like, I'm not like Bob in the movie Office Space. I'm not here to fire anybody, but I know I'm not going to get the truth from above. And so this is your opportunity to unload and show me and tell me everything that's going on. Everything will be anonymized, but this is your opportunity for to help me help fix what's going on here to make everything go smoother and run better and provide more opportunities for you guys. So I think that's been a massive source of organizational enterprise information. The founder is going to not exactly going to tell you everything. They're going to probably shade the truth a little bit, and that doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
I love the reactions there. That's awesome. You get it. Yep. There you go. Oh my God, I got to get one of those.
I say that there are liars and then there's founders.
What'd you say,
I
Forrest?
said there are founders. I said there are liars and then there's founders.
That's right. And I mean, it's human psychology, right? I think each of us, to some degree, some more than others, has a little bit of avoidance, creates a narrative that suits their current needs. And, everybody's human. So, but, I find that if I didn't do my own, like, identity work, like internal work, I don't know as if I'd be as effective as I am.
Yeah, absolutely. You focus on rebuilding the system underneath the business. What does a healthy system actually look like in practice? We know what's bad, what's good.
It's simple. It's really simple. We try and make it as so simple that a 5-year-old could operate it. We try to automate as much as possible, and we try to minimize the amount of redundancy in order to get it to work. So the thing is, like every business is different. It's kind of like when you think about ERP software, like an Oracle ERP software probably tackles 70% of what you like for 70% of what every business needs. It's that remaining 30% that is still left in the air, and you still have to kind of figure out how that fits together with current business processes. So we would like to, instead of just install, and I'm not a software integrator or anything like that, but I use that analogy because we want sometimes the way that the business is operating that doesn't fit within that remaining 30%, maybe that actually needs to change. Maybe it doesn't, but someone's got to really take the lens and say like, well, in order to make this simpler, your job and your workflow is going to have to change. And how does that, what are the second and third order effects of that if we decide to make that happen? But simple is better. That's really how I look at it. Simple is always better.
Less is more.
Totally agree.
That's right. That's right.
So when leadership teams get stuck or overloaded, what's typically happening beneath the surface that they're not seeing? I always say that, the issue is not the issue. The issue that's brought up
Yes.
is probably not the real issue. It's not that you didn't do the dishes. It's that you didn't take the trash out for the last week with your wife, so to speak. So what do you find?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's usually some avoidance with something that relates to them as a person. Maybe it's a fear. Maybe it's a fear of being discovered, a fear of that they might be seen as incompetent. It's a discomfort with having a uncomfortable conversation with a team. It's a lot of times it's not saying what needs to be said and not having the space to be able to communicate that. Yeah. And sometimes it's, hey, we do it this way because that's how I designed it and I'm great. And that's my identity. And my identity is how this system works. Or my job is solely based on the system and how it operates. What happens if we change it? Am I gone? Am I fired? Am I needed? I think it's a lot of human stuff that is underlying. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely does. Well said.
And that's why in the world of AI, I feel like for practitioners like you, Forrest, and myself, that you have AI, businesses will have AI, but It's the human element that I really think is the value creator. That's where the value is created, where you break through the whatever the resistance is with that founder, with that client, with that business owner. AI can't do that quite yet. It might, but
Yeah, that part's certainly a personal craft, and you do over breakfast and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's
yes,
ever going out of
got to read the
fashion, and it's
room.
desperately
Yep.
needed. And it's just, yeah, it's a dicey proposition, right? It's just like it's a fun. I never thought about this aspect. I'm so naive. So I never thought about like this psychological aspect or like management aspect. I thought like I'm just going to come in and they're going to be really happy to have somebody eager and able, and willing to like fix up this stuff, and everybody's going to like be hurrah. Not that I don't want pomp and circumstance. I love seeing
No,
the stuff work. I thought like, hey, I was going to jump on this bike and just ride this baby off into the sunset. It's like, I'm just wearing the helmet and then the other helmet. And it's like, sometimes I'm just, yeah, like I'm in the driver's seat, a little bit. It's like, well, wasn't quite expecting that. And then have to jump through hoops, to get the adoption and stuff. So I'm a dum dum that way.
no, I think it comes down to like experience and like running. The more you see it, the more the more pattern recognition you have. You're like, oh, this is it. Like, yep, change is hard for everybody. Let's see. There's going to be a month and a half period while people get scared. They start threatening to leave. They are worried. They start to have they start to have little mutinies here and there pop up, and you're like, yep, this is kind of standard. Here's my playbook. I gotta have the founder kind of sit down the team and give a speech, give them the vision, tell them why we're doing what we need to do, and get everybody rowing in the same direction, be a team.
That's
Like,
so
and
powerful when that happens, though, isn't it?
it
Like
really
what?
is.
Just pivotal. I've only been doing this for about a year, at this fractional thing. And I'm saying it's a blessing that it was a curveball. It's totally a blessing. It's gotten me to do, as you say, some identity work, some internal work, help navigate these situations, deal with some of the people, aspects of things better and start to develop a playbook. So that's a whole different show. But yeah, thanks. That's good stuff.
Well, it's as like a solopreneur or solo practitioner, you carry a lot of weight. You carry not only your own business weight, right? Like for what you're trying to do, what food you're trying to put on the table for your family, but you're carrying this other founder's weight too. And so you're like
I hear
invested
you.
in things. So that's a lot.
Right. I totally understand that, man. So last question, we'll get into a couple of little wildcard questions for you. If a founder feels like the business is just simply heavier than it should be, like what we're talking about here, what is like the first move? And maybe you had already brought this up. You can remind us, what is the first move that you do to help regain clarity in that organization?
It's a conversation. It's feeling like reach out to me, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you think the issue is, and then let's sit down and do a diagnostic. Let's go through it and see where the root cause is. Because far in my experience, the founder talks about the symptoms. They don't. They're too deep into like their business and operations and or whatever it is they're focused on within that business or too busy to like really dive in and find the root cause. And the root, just like any other problem, in order to solve it, you got to get to the root cause.
Well said again, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, Tony, teed it up, wild card questions. What's a football opinion you have that most people would disagree with?
That the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm born and raised in upstate New York. I live in upstate New York now, like forever a Bills fan. And man, they disappoint me every year.
But just still a
It's
fan.
like this, yeah. But like, I actually spoke with a woman this morning at a coffee shop. She like spilled her coffee, and I'm like, oh, tough start to the day, but at least you're not a Bills fan. She's like, oh, but I am. And that was a trap. That was a trap question, a trap statement by me. But it's like cultural. It's like, and it's probably this way in other non-major metro cities. It's like, this is just who we are. This is in our blood. And yeah, we get kicked in the teeth every year, but we keep coming back for more and more because it connects us all. And that's really special.
Kind of like Cowboys fans, right?
Ooh. Do you guys follow football? Like, I assume you do because you asked, but
A little bit, not very much. Tony probably does a lot more than I do. We follow college football down here.
okay. All right. So who's your squad?
I am an Auburn fan by marriage.
All right. That's, I mean, the SEC.
That's right.
I mean, that's basically NFL light, right?
Yeah, but they could be just as good as winning record as the Dallas Cowboys right now. So So I understand.
With
I
Dallas
understand.
Cowboys, that's a tough conversation for me, man. Thanks. I appreciate that.
For the record, I follow and watch absolutely zero football. I gave Forrest that question so he could ask it of you. And I'm looking forward to asking you this question for a different reason. Jeff, what's one album that you can put on from start to finish, no skips, and it still hits every time?
Oh, man, that's real hard. Love music.
I know there's plenty. Pick one.
You know what? It's going to be probably Metallica and Justice for All. Like, I can listen to that straight through from like no skips, everyone bangs, and
That's
after
full
it,
of
I'm
underdog
like,
anthems too. It all comes full circle, man. Give it up for
that's
the
it.
underdogs. Let's hear it
That's
for
it.
the underdog.
How about you guys?
Man, I can't even
I
say
said
an
all that.
album that I listen to straight through. I don't even have one.
It's hard,
Yeah,
man.
it
There's
is.
a lot of crap out.
I mean, it's an obscure. I mean, yeah, of course, like what Dark Side of the Moon, like
Yep.
Zayo, Funeral of God. That's kind of an obscure one. I don't know if you're a
Yep.
Zayo fan or you're familiar with
Yeah.
Zayo or anything at all, Jeff. But man,
Yeah,
that
great
one's great. Just plenty. Yeah, there's plenty, man. Like I said, but if you had to
It's
pick
such a-
one, that's cool. And I love it, because it was the right one for this conversation because it really brought it all full circle for me. Just the underdogs. Something about the underdogs going in the title. of this
One with the
episode.
underdogs, kind of like that Terror song, man.
That's good stuff.
Sweet. Well, hey, man, that was great. One last thing before we head out into the weekend, make sure to rock the And Justice for All, over the weekend. Put the windows
You know it,
down,
guys.
shout it from the mountains. Where can people get in touch with you?
You can find me at melburyandco.com, melburyandco.com, or you can find me Jeff Benesh on LinkedIn. That's probably one of the best ways to find me.
Well, that was Jeff Benesh, a reminder that most businesses don't break all at once, they drift. And when they do, the problem usually isn't what you see, it's the system underneath. Jeff's work shows that when you restore clarity, control, and momentum, execution follows. If your business feels heavier than it should, this is one worth revisiting. I'm Forrest.
I'm Tony.
And this has been Fixers and Founders.
Thank you.
Oh, my darlings, look at you. Still here with me till the end. That's how I know you're one of us. The fixers, the founders, the ones who build in the chaos and still manage to laugh through it. Drop a comment, share your sparks, and connect with each other. This is where the net weaving begins. Like, share, and subscribe to keep the fire blowing. Until next time.